Hello, in this Photoshop video I'm going to explain how to create a fun paint splash portrait effect like this. This is my starting image here, and I'm going to use a range of brushes, blend modes and filter effects to create my painted look. So let's get started. I'm going to go to Window Layers first of all to bring up my Layers panel, and let's just dock it over to the side of the screen over here. And then what I'm going to do first is apply a couple of filter effects. So I'm going to duplicate my background layer here with Command or Control and J. That's Command J on a Mac, Control J on Windows. And I'll right click that copy there and convert it to a smart object. Now I'm going to apply a filter, but this filter effect is dependent on the colors that I have down here in my foreground and background color options. So I need to make sure they're reset to their default value, so I can hit D for that, so the foreground is black and the background is white. Then I can go to filter and we'll use the filter gallery. Now I can hit Command or Control and 0 to bring my image full screen, and I'm going to use the torn edges filter here, which is found under the sketch options down here, and you can see the effect this has on my image where it's converted to really blocky black and white. Now I'm using these settings here: image balance 32, smoothness 13, contrast 15, and I'm happy with that at the moment, so I'll hit OK to apply, and you can see the effect that has on my image. Now I think the effect is slightly too strong over the face, so what I can do is duplicate this layer here that we applied the filter to with Command or Control and J once more to create a copy, and then I can double click where it says filter gallery here to go back into my filter settings. And now let's try a slightly softer setting here. So I'm going to bring the image balance down to around about 21 and hit OK. So that gives me a different effect, and then I can blend the two with a layer mask. So I'll click the add layer mask icon here at the bottom of the layers panel, and then I can grab the brush tool. I'll choose just a normal circular brush tip, and I can paint with black to hide parts of the top layer there and reveal the darker layer underneath. So I can just quickly paint over this area here to create more of a blocky effect like this over the hand and any areas that I think need to be darker. I can also switch to white if I need to reveal parts of that top layer again. So once I've got a decent blend of my two layers, I'm ready to add another filter effect. So I'm going to hit Command or Control and J again to make another copy. I'm just going to right click my layer mask and delete it on this copy, and then I'll double click the filter gallery again here to go back into my filter gallery settings. This time I'm going to use a different filter, so I'm going to go to the photocopy filter here, and we'll set the detail to around about 9. The darkness will bring that down to 1 just to give me a subtle sketch effect like this. Again, I'll hit OK to apply, and I'm going to blend this with everything else using the multiply blend mode. So I'll go to normal, multiply up here in the blend mode drop down, and if I toggle that layer off and on, you can see it just gives me some subtle detail. It allows me to add in this sort of sketch effect over the image. Next, I'm ready to start adding my paint effects. So I'm going to highlight the layer below because I'd like to add my paint between these top two layers here. Then I'm going to go into Bridge here, and I've got this image that I've downloaded from pixabay.com. And if you want to use the same image, you just need to search for 2681039. So I can double click to open that, and then I'm going to use the Move tool to click and drag it into my main image and position it on top like this. Then I can change the blend mode here from normal to screen, and you can see how that blends those paints with my image in this way. I can hit Command or Control and T to transform the layer, and if I just hit Command or Control and 0, I'll be able to see the edges of the bounding box here, and I can just tweak them and position my image however I like. I could perhaps rotate it and tweak the positioning like this. Let's make it slightly smaller and position it around about there, then double click to apply. Then let's zoom in closer again. So I'm pretty happy with how that looks, but I'd like to add in a few more brush effects and splashes and things like that to rough up my image. And to do this, I'm going to download a brush set. So if I bring up my brushes panel here by going to Window, brushes. Let's drag this out here, and I can click the little flyout menu here, and there's an option down here to get more brushes. And this brings us to an Adobe web page, and there's a range of excellent brush sets that we can download and use. So I'm going to download the watercolor set. I'll just hit download and save the set. And I'm also going to download the spatter set. Now, once downloaded, we can navigate to the ABR files here. We can right-click them and open with Photoshop. And let's do the same with the other set. Then if we scroll down to the bottom of our brushes panel here, you can see there are those new sets, the watercolor set and the spatter brushes sets. So let's open up our spatter brushes and see what we've got here. You can see this gives us a range of really cool brushes. I can just grab one here, and then what I can do is make a new layer by clicking the new layer icon here at the bottom of the layers panel, and I'll just dock my brushes over here alongside my layers, and then I can start painting with my new brush. So I'm going to set my foreground color to white to begin with, and I can increase my brush size using the right square bracket key to make it larger. And then you can see as I paint, I can kind of eat away at parts of my subject like this, just to create this kind of fun scatter effect around the image. And then I can experiment with different brushes. So let's perhaps choose this one here. And again, start painting around the frame like this to build up the effect. And of course I can choose different colors if I like. So I'm going to go back to my layers here. Let's make a new layer. I'm going to hold Alt and click to sample one of the colors from my image. And then I can paint to sort of add a few other splashes of color around my image like this. Let's sample a different color and perhaps choose one last brush tip here. Let's go into our watercolor set this time and perhaps choose one of these kind of spattered watercolor effects. And then again, just paint over my image to add the effect in like this. So you can have lots of fun with these different brushes and build up the effect in any way you like. And I've continued in the same way to come up with my finished image. So there we go. That's how to create a fantastic paint splash effect in Photoshop with a range of filters, blend modes, and brushes.